Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nic Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond. And this was beyond.
This was very beyond, yes. Stretching the far. Yes. So today we are discussing the infamous Star Wars Holiday Special. This episode originally aired November 17th, 1978.
Now, obviously, this is
way
a
before we were born.
Huge and psychologically damaging task for us to undertake, and so we felt that we couldn't do it alone. So we called in the big guns, and our old college pal Jesse Hamilton Ryals is here to talk about the Star Wars Holiday Special with us. Jesse, welcome.
When I heard psychologically damaging, I was like, I am there.
You were there. Hands up. Jesse, the last time you and I did a Star Wars-y kind of podcast together was when you were guest starring on the All the Book Show, and we talked about Timothy Zahn.
That is correct. That's my area of focus in my studies.
I wish that's what we were talking about
right
today.
There behind me.
I would watch a Star Wars Holiday Special as written by Timothy Zahn.
Oh, yeah.
The only direction to go is up from here.
It's
so,
true.
Yeah.
That's really true.
Yeah.
That's really true. All right. Let's let me tell you a little bit of facts about this terrible.
Let's tear the Band-Aid off.
Okay. So the special aired just once in the U.S. on CBS and has never been released commercially. The animated sequence, The Story of the Faithful Wookiee, was released as part of the 2011 Blu-ray releases, and then, of course, came out on Disney Plus at the same time as the Ewoks cartoon did when they released the Star Wars Vintage Collections. We're not going to get into The Story of the Faithful Wookiee today because it's too good to wedge into all of this garbage around it. So we'll talk about that another day. But today's special was written by, there's a lot of writers credited. I feel like they wanted to spread the blame around a little bit. Written by Pat Proft, Leonard Rips, Bruce Villanach, Rod Warren, and Mitzi Welch. Directed by Steve Binder. Again, why are these people using their real names? I have to wonder.
Yeah. I don't even know if they are real.
That's true.
Who's Leonard Rips? I mean, come on.
I heard the name Bruce Villanach.
I feel like that's a Mike Roch joke.
Yeah, that's true.
Leonard Rips. Oh, we got it in there.
That was a list that Bart Simpson would
that was
read.
Like,
yeah. Okay.
That was a name they slipped in there so that it could get an extra meal at lunchtime or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Cast, we got a lot of all stars reprising their roles here. We got Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew, and James Earl Jones, all coming back from their characters from the Star Wars saga. A couple of head-scratching additions to the cast for this, including B. Arthur of Mame and Maude and the Golden Girls and all of those things. We had B. Arthur here, basically as herself, kind of as Maude. I don't know what B. Arthur was doing here.
I don't think B. Arthur knew what she was doing there.
No.
Well, I read that her son was a big Star Wars fan, and that was the only reason why she did it. And then it was just kind of like,
that's why she did it.
Why am I here? But we also had...
It wasn't even Star Wars.
It wasn't even Star Wars, yeah. We had Art Carney, who's best known for playing Ed Norton on the classic sitcom The Honeymooners.
Yep.
I felt like he was pretty good. I think if anybody came out looking okay on this, what is his name? What's that character's name?
Sandoon.
Okay. I thought he was fine, I liked him. Harvey Corman is 3 different characters, none of which even touch funniness, which is pretty shocking because, I mean, he's great. Carol Burnett show and all that. I mean, he's a legendary comedian, and it just, nothing he does lands in this special, I don't think.
No.
We had a special appearance by the band Jefferson Starship for some reason. I like the song. Mm-hmm. Playing the rest of the Wookiee family, we had Mickey Morton as Mala. So Mala was played by a man, even though she was always set to smolder. She was ready. Anytime they tossed a close-up to Mala, she was like, oh, who, me?
Oh. It was those eyes. They were convincing.
They were expressive.
Sparkly,
they were expressive.
Sultry.
For sure.
In their own furry way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have Paul Gale.
Actually, you're describing a Wookiee as sultry.
Yes.
Hey. There's certain things we can pick apart.
I just want this clarified for the inevitable deposition.
That's a fact. That is a pure fact. Paul Gale as Itchy, old Grandpa Itchy, the perv. Mm-hmm. We have Patty Maloney as Lumpy. So I just want to point out that Mala, played by a man, Lumpy, played by a woman. Yeah. Our featured cast member for this episode, this special, I feel like calling it a special implies that there's something special about it, and it's unique, but it's not special.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe that's the only description we can give that isn't mean.
Sure. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah. We'll get. Yeah.
Well, Diane Carroll is our highlighted cast member this week. She did a musical segment with Itchy in like I don't even know what, 3D goggles. I don't know, but she's kind of a legendary actress herself. She did a lot of early work in films like Carmen, Porgy and Bess. In 1962, she became the first African American woman to win a Tony Award. And that was for her work in the Broadway musical No Strings. In 1974, she starred alongside Darth Vader himself, James Earl Jones, in the film Claudine, and she was nominated for an Academy Award. She passed away in 2019. So what a journey from nominated for an Academy Award in 1974 to the Star Wars Holiday Special in 1978.
I mean, every actor and actress has got to have that one thing that they want to forget.
Yeah.
But this is that thing that, like, everybody wants to forget.
I don't fault people for being like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. That sounds fun. I mean, they probably didn't see a whole script, and then they show up and...
Yeah.
Before we get into the uber detailed plot, I want to know your history with this, because I have seen this once before, and it was last year. I was like, oh, I've never seen it before. We should watch it. And I watched it with my son, and he was not pleased. And so I watched it again for this airing, and it was worse this time. I don't know. Jesse, what about you? Have you seen this before?
No, I hadn't. Like I was like less than a month old when I first saw Return of the Jedi, which is kind of set the trajectory of my life going. And so I've long background in Star Wars.
Yes.
I'd never seen this, and I'd heard about it, because you can't not hear about it.
Yeah.
You know anything about Star Wars. So I'd hoped that there would be, like, it'd be one of those, like, it's bad, but it's fun because it's so bad. And we watched this with a couple of my kids, and I think my in-laws were here too, and like my mom, my wife, we all watched it. It's just like, none of us, it was, you mentioned psychologically damaging earlier.
Yeah.
Like, I've just grouped us in with like group therapy for later, because it just, you gotta process the trauma.
It's so long. That's the thing I just can't get over.
Yeah.
It is so long.
Yeah.
It's aggressively long. I don't know. What about you, Steve? I know we've kind of talked about this a little before, but like, how deep do you go with this?
I can't remember the first time I saw it, but I do remember seeing it on a VHS. Like, it was a recording or a bootleg of it or something like that. I remember it not being terrible.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. Right? And I hadn't seen it in a long time. Yeah. Well, I must have been young. But, like... I just remembered certain aspects of it. Like, I remember all the Han Solo parts and stuff like that. That's what, like, stuck with me. So every time I've talked about it, I haven't seen it yet since, and I was just like, oh, yeah, I mean, it wasn't so bad. It's like one of those things that everyone talks so much crap about. And then you just jump on board and everyone is just talking crap about it. But it's really not that bad. Well, I watched it again. I was like, oh man, it is really bad. I forgot how legendarily bad.
That was my experience too. When the Radio Meanwhile Network launched, there was a show called Three Nice Things, and it was a show where you would watch a bad movie, and then all of, like, the guest panelists had to pick 3 nice things to say about it. And I did a couple episodes of that show, and each time I was like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. Let's watch this crappy movie. And then, like, you'd watch it, and it's like, no, it's not fun. This is terrible. And that was my experience with this. Like, I was thinking it was going to be fun, but I did not have fun.
It was just so painful. There wasn't any redemptive value to it.
That's true.
It's not like, oh, well, they were trying these different things, and like they were being creative, and it was like, what were they thinking?
Yeah, it's a real head scratcher. All right, Steve.
Well, there was about 40 minutes of, like, growling and grunting, right?
Yeah.
With no context.
True.
And I thought it's interesting that, like, for a minute I thought, am I watching, like, a version without subtitles or something?
Right.
And so I Googled, and everyone's, like, said the same thing. They're like, oh my gosh, like, the fact that there's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's fine if Chewbacca's like, wah, 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 because there's always like somebody to be like, yeah, man, I get what you're saying, or like, no, my driving is good. You're the one that's terrible. Like, there's always some context, where this is just grunting and growling back and forth, and you're like,
yeah. You can't make heads or tails of it. I guess
he's asking him to take out the garbage, like, like, so it's just
it's just a terrifying game of charades. But Steve, normally
we all lose.
Yeah, exactly. There's no winners. Steve, normally your synopses for these things are the stuff of legend. So I'm curious to see what you have for us today, and what is essentially a plotless piece of television. So take us in.
All right, the uber detailed plot of the Star Wars Holiday Special. The Star Wars Holiday Special is a packed tale of epic proportions. Han Solo attempts to deliver his buddy old pal Chewbacca home in time for Life Day, a once-a-year family tradition celebrated by all Wookiees on their home planet of Kashyyyk. Or is it Kazook?
Yeah, they say Kazook.
This is the first time we've ever heard.
Yeah.
We said they said
Kazook.
Kazook, but they eventually changed it to Kashyyyk, which is really funny. Anyway, however, along the way, they are met with the Imperial blockade and get held up. Chewie's wife, Mala, starts to worry and reaches out for help, contacting Luke Skywalker and R2-D2. Then, Princess Leia and C-3PO, none of whom have any idea where Han and Chewie could be. Mala grows more and more concerned, but she, along with Chewie's father, Itchy, and son Lumpy, are forced to wait and endure the hardships of living under Imperial rule. Their difficulties are softened by the help of friends like traitor Son Dan and the multiple roles of Harvey Corman.
Ooh.
Agonizing time passes with activities like a Bantha recipe cooking show, a creepy cyber porn experience turned James Bond credits featuring Diane Carroll, a cosmic rock show by Jefferson Starship, a Life on Tatooine travel musical webisode. We can all agree, B. Arthur is a charm.
Yes.
Not all is lost, however, as we are introduced to the bounty hunter Boba Fett for the first time as Lumpy distracts himself with a cartoon. We'll be talking about that in another episode. When Chewie finally makes it home, he and Han quickly dispatch the remaining Imperial troopers harassing the household. The Wookiee family is delighted Chewie made it in time to celebrate Life Day with them. Just when you think all is over, we are regaled with a Life Day song by Carrie Fisher. May she rest in peace. The awkwardness of the final moments of the show are muted by how decent Carrie's voice is. With Sondan's blessing, the Wookiee family enjoys their time together in peace. Finally, roll credits.
You know, you're right. You're
short
right
as
about
possible.
Carrie Fisher. You're right about Carrie Fisher. Like I don't know that I've ever heard her
Yeah.
sing outside of this special, but like you gotta forget her mother was Debbie
Yeah.
Reynolds, who's like a legendary like song and
Yeah.
dance. You know, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Her father, Eddie Fisher, also a musician.
Yep.
But yeah, she's good. When she starts, like the first time I watched this, and it's like, oh, she's gonna sing. Oh no. But she pulls it off. I think she sounds pretty good.
I know. That
right.
like last sustaining note, I was like, dang, like
Yeah.
she's hitting that.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah,
So,
and you try singing that well just in a bathtub full of cocaine.
No.
You wouldn't be able to.
with with a
Oh,
blonde head.
Jesse has. Okay, all right. Yeah, I forgot
Jesse
about
has,
that.
yeah.
I forgot about that. All right, so let's just. I don't know. I mean, we kind of
where
like
do we start?
front loaded this with the fact that this is just not fun. Like it doesn't have redemptive value. It doesn't feel Star Warsy. Like it's not cool.
Yeah.
So let's maybe start by trying to figure out like what the goal was here.
What I saw,
Yeah.
what I read online as a way of trying to keep myself alive during the movie was that George Lucas had done this as a way of, like, it was his idea so that audiences wouldn't forget about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Between like A New Hope and Empire coming out. And it's like, yeah, but you want them to remember the good times,
Yeah.
George, not this.
Yeah, well, I think they just weren't really expecting it to be like a hit or like this big phenomenon, and so like, yeah, I guess they were just anxious to get more out there. But like, I know we talked about this a little when we covered the Ewok movies. Like, if this was a cool like 45 minutes, it would probably be fine. You know, like if you just cut out a lot of the
Yeah,
nonsense and just had the story about like Chewbacca's family is worried and they're held up by the Empire, and you know eventually they get together and have their holiday, like that would be fine. It's all of the weird vignettes that like I just don't understand.
Yeah. Nothing seemed cohesive. What was the very first thing we saw? Was it the circus? It was the Hollow Chest Circus, right? And then it was the cooking show,
Yeah.
and then it was I don't even know.
It seemed like they had like these different acts, like almost like a variety show.
Yeah.
And
It
they
seemed
tried
like
to come
that,
up with
yeah.
something, a plot that could tie them together. And like whoever's job it was to do the plot was the one on cocaine. Like it just didn't make sense. Again, the hollow chest, and then you've got like
Yeah.
Diane Carroll, and it's like I don't know what's going on there, but think I need to take a shower.
Yes.
And then,
Well, that
and then
kind
there
of
was
seemed
like,
intentional.
yeah,
I don't know.
That
Yeah.
actually, it was intentional. That was one of the facts that
yeah,
where is it here? That one of the writers was like, oh yeah, according to producer Mitzi Welsh, the sequence with Diane Carroll was intended to be, quote, softcore porn that would pass
Well,
the
that's.
censor.
I mean, I feel like
Why?
with IMDb fun fact sections, we have to take all of them with a grain of salt. But I think that's certainly how it's directed. It seems like Itchy's like trying to get away with something, which, again, for a children's holiday special, I don't really understand. But I think if you think about the vignettes and stuff in the context of like what was popular on TV in the late 70s, you know, you have like the Smothers Brothers and like the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour and like Laugh-In and things like that were a lot more like old school variety show kind of things. And I feel like that's what they were chasing, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just do like a movie of the week kind of deal. Like, I don't get it. I don't know if they just didn't have a script for it. It's weird.
Yeah, it was like a skit show or something. It almost seemed like Harvey Corman had nothing. Well, obviously, it had nothing to do with the writing.
Yeah, sure.
Right, like if he had, I feel like there would have been a little bit more of a funny aspect to it.
Well, he
but
does.
It was like, here, this is what.
Yeah, he's doing everything with gusto. You know what I mean? Like he's not.
I know he's doing his
back.
self.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it was just. Oh, so this is what it was. I explained it to my wife. I was like, everything felt like it was 4 minutes too long. Every scene.
You mean
like the
40,
whole beginning scene?
But yeah,
40.
Yeah.
No. No, like the scene with at the very beginning with like Lumpy flying the X-wing, where we're like, oh my gosh, I cannot stand that anymore. It was just like, we get it. He's flying. He's flying the X-wing. He couldn't make any like pew pew noises to break up like the sound of the engines, you know, like.
I think, when you have the early scene with Han and Chewie in the Falcon, or like a small cardboard cutout approximation of the Falcon, I mean, I think Harrison Ford is. I don't think he's really phoning it in there. I think he's really like playing Han Solo, you know, and like that's a fun, exciting part. And if it was all kind of that tone, even though, I mean, you can tell they're doing real tight close-ups on the faces and stuff because they don't want you to see like the weird mock-up.
How bad
of yeah, exactly.
Looks.
But like the performance, the performance was good, and like that felt Star Warsy for that few minutes. And I did kind of like, we got a few. I don't know if they were deleted scenes from A New Hope, but you got some scenes of Vader and like stuff that was not from the movie. So I liked that. I mean, I thought that was cool, seeing a little bit of like extra stuff.
That was what was his name, like Captain Bast or Lieutenant Bast, or I don't know. I saw something in there that was Chief, yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
that is. There's another deleted scene in B. Arthur's section where it was like a little guy ducking under some giant legs.
Yeah.
That was another actual deleted scene from Star Wars. So they did use a lot. I mean, cool. Obviously they used a lot of actual footage, but they did use a lot of deleted or unused scenes, which was clever. I mean, that's what you want, right? I mean, that's the whole point. There's content you've already paid for,
right?
You know, basically. So you should be putting that in there.
I think. So. I mean, if you look at all the main segments, so I feel like you have like the Han Chewie stuff, you have the family stuff, you have the Leia C-3PO stuff, you have the Luke R2 stuff, and then you have like B. Arthur, the first Dark Carney, and then the random little vignettes. Like if you kind of break all of those up, I think it was at its best when Han Solo was there.
Yeah,
because
I think so.
He seemed like,
well, end when Han was there, like it kind of tie-in stuff.
He was the one who seemed to be like, if we're doing this, let's do it, you know, and his relationship with Chewie, like you said, Jess, it's like it kind of ties it in a little bit, so it makes some level of sense. Whereas like when they go to cover girl Luke Skywalker and he's like, Mala, Itchy, Lumpy, that's a
with
little
his guy
confusing.
liner.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little confusing.
I know. I thought it was so weird. The scene when they finally, when Han and Chewie walk in to Chewie's home, and they're kind of like, "We're here," and Han's like, "Chewie, watch the door," and he's like, "Mala."
Yes.
You know, like, I love you guys. And I'm like, we would you just send Chewie to
that
watch the door? Like,
That's a good point.
It's his family. Like,
That's a good
why
point.
don't you watch the door? Like, and be like, see you later. Like, I just thought that was such an awkward scene.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
you're right. And thinking about the other leads, I mean, I feel like Mark Hamill looks insane, and I think a lot has been made of that. But like,
Oh, man.
he is.
Yeah.
I feel like he's playing Luke. He seems like the character feels right to me. It's a weird scene to just like have this high camera looking down on him, like fixing something. In an X-wing suit. I mean, that was weird to me. I'd always heard
That's, like, constantly smoking.
Yeah, it's constantly smoking, and he's just like sucking it up, just right in his face. I'd always heard that Carrie Fisher was like terrible in this, and I didn't really think that was true.
No, I thought she was pretty good. She was just. I bet she was extremely disappointed she had to wear that outfit again.
Probably, yeah.
I think that's basically it. They half-assed her buns. They weren't as tight.
Mm-hmm.
They were. One was like a little bit bigger than the other, but like it was. It was all right.
It's just so weird to me that like you have the whole main cast. I don't know how they got. I mean, willing to come back. Apparently, you have the whole main cast there. It just seems like you could have made something happen here.
I know.
And clearly, we call it Life Day, but it's clearly supposed to be a Christmas special, and it's like the least Christmassy thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really even feel like a holiday special.
First, aren't the Wookiees supposed to be like enslaved by the Empire? And it's like freaking Chewbacca's home is like a swanky
I know
penthouse like treehouse home.
Yes,
with like sub panels with like video screens and
Yeah.
technology and like I was like I'm confused. Are like the Wookiees technologically advanced with like weaponry and stones, or are they like computer geniuses?
That's
because Mala like.
Yes.
Just ties right into the planetary, scanning system and scans for ships. I'm like, she's just hacking into like, are there any ships in outer space? Like, I can't do that, but she can just do that from her freaking treehouse, So
Mala's a hacker, Steve. You just need to kind of deal with
it's
that.
true.
She looks like Moltar from Space Ghost Coast to Coast when she's just up there like pulling levers, changing the screen. That's what I kept thinking of every time it happened. I feel like if you would have taken the Art Carney character and just had him be with the Wookiees the whole time, just like never have a scene of just the Wookiees, just have Art Carney be there the whole time and have him sort of like be the voice to walk things through, then that would have solved a lot of problems. If he could have been the one like tapping into things and helping them contact other people and stuff. I just feel like that
kind
would
of
have
directing everything.
Yeah, because it's really early on in the special where you have the Wookiees for it's 10 minutes. I feel like it's 10 minutes where not a word is spoken. It just sounds like
It's an easy 10 minutes. Yeah.
It's just the sounds of like if you vacuum over Matchbox cars. Like that's the only sound you get from the Wookiees, just like screaming at each other.
And the things that they're doing, well, they're not even like when they're doing their pantomime and like the gesturing. It's not like it's serving the plot.
No.
Or they're doing like all of these like weirdly. It's like, okay, taking out the trash, like sure, but like that's the stuff that you cut from a movie,
right?
In order to facilitate it.
Yeah,
and it's like all that it is.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that even if they were speaking English, it would have been painful.
Yeah, it would have.
But the fact that
I think so,
just grunting, and it's like, okay, so I guess he's maybe taking out the trash.
And
it just was too long, right? That's what But I don't know if he's telling them to shut the heck up or if he's like, "Oh, you're so cute," because he's still going.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like,
I
what's
can't
going
get
on?
over the set. I mean, it's like they're in the house from the Brady Bunch. Like it doesn't even seem, woodsy or anything. It just seems like they bought a nice ranch style house, in Pasadena and
made out of wood. That's it.
It's just it's really weird. What do you? I don't even know. I mean, it really is a painful watch. When I started it again, it was like in the evening, and my son was like, "This again?" Like we hadn't watched it in like a year, and he sat there for a minute, and I was like, "Are you ready to go up to bed?" And he was like, "Yes," and just like got up and walked out of the room. Like that's how bad it was. He chose bedtime over watching more of this.
That's so great.
But
man,
this certainly wouldn't appeal to an adult Star Wars fan. But I can't imagine.
No.
A child sitting through like a B. Arthur romance, at like minute 90. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
My kids did enjoy, like, thought that was really funny.
Oh, really?
Like they have referenced it a few times afterwards, like talking about how funny it was that
Wow.
like she said that, what is it? I'll be waiting for you, or like looking out for you, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it was my daughter in particular was like, and so, but she says that to everybody, and the guy thought she was talking to him.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So,
I guess it worked.
And like he drank from his head, and like all this stuff. It's like, oh.
So that's probably one of the longest Star Wars scenes, actually. Did you guys catch the fact that they were like, this is a mandatory message for all Imperial forces? And it was like this.
Yeah.
It's like, what the frick just happened?
It's
They're just trying to like kill the soul of the Imperial forces. So just make them into straight up drones, like no will to live.
I mean, the B. Arthur
that
sequence in a
works.
lot of ways does feel the most Star Warsy, I guess you could say, because they are just in like the cantina, and you see all the aliens, like the costumes and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't get it, but like I guess it kind of fits. And then it gets real trippy in the end when they all like they have their like light orbs and they're all wearing like choir robes and like walking through space. I just don't even at that point. It's just a real head scratcher. I keep thinking it can't possibly get more weird or more confusing, and it does.
All right, let's stop ragging on this and get to the Ichiwawa moment and Okavark moment.
Honestly, the thing is, like, I know that we're not mining any new territory by saying the Star Wars Holiday Special is bad, but the level to which is bad is truly a thing of beauty.
Pretty significant.
It is.
It's definitely a rediscoverable.
Yes.
That is. When you watch something, you're like, man, I rediscovered how great something is. And you watch this, and it's like, I just rediscovered how absolutely terrible it was.
Well,
there's just like nothing redemptive.
No.
Nothing.
And the thing is, there's a lot of kitschy things, especially like kitschy holiday things that I like. And I'm like fully understanding that these things are bad, but I still kind of like them. And I really was expecting to get there with this, but you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. So
I'm ragging on it.
Jesse, you are our guest.
Yes.
We go through the Ichiwawa moment and Okavark moment. So Ichiwawa is the point in the episode that you thought was very good, poignant, stuck out to you, something that you really liked. And Okavark is something life-changing. I know, albeit very small in this, but the Okavark is the exact opposite. The part that you were just like, oh my gosh, just... could be left out forever.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What is your Ichiwawa moment?
I liked the thing they did with Lumpy, where he did the like toy radio thing.
Yeah.
And like that fooled the stormtroopers and got them to leave. I thought that was in a sea of terrible. There was perhaps one not like shining moment, but like one less acutely painful moment.
True. Well, it was genuinely clever, which kind of fits in line with the stuff that the Ewoks do, right? So, like, it was a clever moment and a good moment for that character. Maybe the only good moment for any character. I don't know.
So it stood out as like any kind of decent writing, where like they had it, they kind of like set it up where he was like sent to his room and he's like, I know what I'm gonna do, and like did whatever he did with the radio thing.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, like that's decent writing.
Yeah.
They set it up and then he did it and then he got caught.
Yep.
But then it was like, oh no, I've got a better idea. Terrible.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. What about you, Nick?
Well, I don't know why I can't remember this. Every 5 seconds I forget his name. Sand Dune? Dan?
Sand Dune.
The art carney, okay?
No,
the art carney.
It's Sand
character.
Dune or something
Sand
like that.
Dune.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought that it was a genuinely good character. You know, I thought it was interesting that they cast, an older actor to play that role. And I like the early scene with the Imperial troop when he's trying to like sell him something and trying to schmooze him a little bit. I liked him with the Wookiees. I truly think, as we said earlier, like if he had been there with the Wookiees the whole time, it really would have helped a lot. So I don't know if that counts to say one character was, but he was mine.
No, I think that's good. That was the person that George Lucas kind of pre-wrote as Lando Calrissian.
Yes, I heard
that really works.
Yeah.
I think the confidence just oozed out of him.
Yeah.
And he was just a jewel in a. I mean, it's hard not to be you can be just a polished rock and look like a jewel.
Well,
amongst stones.
It was kind of like when you see a bad community theater play and there's one actor who you're like, oh, okay. he's good. He's
good.
I feel better when he's there. That's what it was like with Art Carney. It was like he's on the screen. I'm like, okay, well at least this won't just completely devolve because we got like one solid guy there. So
yeah, he's probably the guy that remembered his lines.
Exactly.
Actually, wasn't like reading them.
Exactly. What about you, Steve?
So for me, my Ichiwama moment was Carrie's voice. That blew me away.
Yeah.
I could not get over that.
Yeah.
That I was just like, whoa.
Yeah. All in the genes. I'm telling you, Debbie Reynolds, Eddie Fisher, right there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy that I didn't think about that. I always forget that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, all right, yeah. She can belt it out, especially that last note, that last sustaining note. I was very, very impressed.
Yeah.
And with my musical background, it's hard to impress me. And Carrie Fisher impressed me, buns and all.
She did.
I don't know if I want clarification or I don't want
I feel like probably we should. Yeah, the hair buns. Yes.
How do you need clarification? Yes. Okay, all right.
You're right. Boy, I don't even know how you would narrow down an Okavark moment. Does anybody have a moment that was really the tipping point? The point where you were like, no.
I remember it was like 10 minutes in. I remember being like, how long are they speaking in Wookiee?
Yeah.
Like, is it really, like, one of those where, like, is it really as long as it feels like it is? And the answer was yes.
Yeah.
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 20 minutes longer than you think it should be?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was for me, too. I mean, I know I jotted down literally everything. That's what I wrote.
Yeah.
But I do think it's that, I think the initial, like, 30 minutes sets the tone for the whole thing.
It does.
With just they chose the worst sound for the Wookiees.
It's not even intercut with something. If it was like, here's just some scenes of domestic life, and here's like Han and Chewie fighting, and then like back and forth. No, it's just like 15 minutes uncut. Yeah, it's pretty hard to beat that as the worst moment. Though I gotta say, as much as I like Harvey Corman, every time he was on the screen, I was like, please don't be on the screen. Is it an option for you to not be on the screen? Because I choose that.
If his segments were like 3 minutes, maybe 4, they probably would have been better. But they seemed to like, I was just like, the cooking one was like 9 minutes long. I'm like, jeez, like, this is killing me.
I know.
So, but just it's too easy to rag on this one. Remember,
it is. Is there a moral or a lesson? I guess the lesson would be don't relinquish creative control on popular characters when you're trying to launch a sequel. But within
don't do cocaine.
I
feel like
don't do cocaine.
Well, that's just good advice. That's good advice in general. I mean, it's kind of unfair that Steve and I are pulling out the faithful Wookiee so that Jesse only had to experience the worst of this. So maybe when we talk about that, we can talk about a little bit of a brightness in it. But if somebody was like, "Oh, I've never seen it. Should I watch it?" I think I would say no. I think I would say just like watch 2 minutes of it just so you kind of get a sense of the vibe and then walk away. You don't need to devote 80 minutes of your life. Longer.
Yeah,
it's pushing 2 hours
of your life.
I don't either.
Like, just catch a snippet of the like Lumpy doing the flyby with the X-wing on that Itchy's head.
Yeah,
and like realize those are the names and that's what's happening. And there's no English, and it's like, I get the vibe. I'm good.
I'll tell you one thing: the gifts alone are worth it. I think some great Star Wars holiday special gifts out there in the world. So, that's helpful. It seems mean to ask how many yub nubs we rate this, so I think we should forego that. Steve, what do you think?
What
we have to get
decisions that were made that were bad, like just unqualifiably bad decisions across the board. Names. Mm-hmm. Wookiee, translation,
the look, the sound, everything.
Yes, probably the smells.
Guys, we have to get out of here before we ruin Christmas. I think we're coming really close.
Might be too late
to just destroying the whole thing. Okay, well, Jesse, I don't think words can convey the debt of gratitude, a life debt, you could say, that Steve and I now owe you for sitting through this.
That.
And
you now owe me a life debt.
I know that you're gonna collect. And,
I will.
Dearly.
I've made my space bed, and now I have to sleep in it. All right. Well, as we said in the next episode, Steve and I are going to be covering the animated sequence, The Story of the Faithful Wookiee. Then it's back to the Ewoks cartoon. We're rounding the bases on season 1. So what a journey we've been on.
I know. It's been exciting.
Sure has. Fellas,
Very
happy Life Day.
Yeah.
Also
happy
with
Life
you.
Day.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us
All right.
there, Jesse Ryals.
You're welcome, Steve, Rudd, and Nick.
Until next time, if there is a next time. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. You can find more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter at Endorian Life. And please rate, subscribe, and share this show wherever you get your podcasts.
What if it was just a Jefferson Starship holiday special? Would you guys watch that?
Is there one?
I don't know.
Chihuahua.